You can listen to The Professional Left wherever you get your podcasts, on Netroots Radio, or at our website, proleftpod.com, where you can also contribute to this podcast. There's a PayPal button at our website, or you can mail us a letter and or contribution at Post Office Box 9133, Springfield, Illinois, 62791.
This is the No Fair Remembering Stuff podcast for Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. It's not safe for work.
Where's my music intro?
La, 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 la,
La, la. And that's it. That's it for
I
today.
can see you guys are musically inclined.
They tell me to stop singing in church.
We are very honored at the Professional Left podcast to have as a guest for this No Fair Remembering Stuff episode, the one, the only, John Amato of crooksandliars.com. Hi, John.
Hello, John. Welcome, John.
Is it DJ? How you guys doing?
Oh,
We're doing
fine.
all right.
Doing all right.
And we have a lot to talk about, but one of the things we want to congratulate you on, John.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is how many years you've been at this thing.
Oh, wow. Well,
Crooks and Liars has been going since 2004, right?
correct. The first article was September 1st, 2004.
Wow.
And the first video, I believe, was October 19th.
Which predated YouTube by a number of months and years.
It did.
Absolutely.
Crooks and Liars was the go-to place for video. The
Yeah.
go-to place for video.
You could not get video clips anywhere else
No.
back
No.
in the day. My kids can't believe that there was a time before YouTube. They just don't understand what you're talking about, but it's true.
I know
And-
now it's like an industry or just a standard of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And
Crooks and
remember
Liars,
go ahead,
Crooks
Bill.
and Liars began before youngest child was born, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's right.
I mean,
That's when you were in Alabama, right?
Yeah. I was in Alabama.
Yeah.
Actually, youngest child was born in February of 2004.
Oh, so it's basically the same time.
Same year. They're
Yeah.
as old as youngest child.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And
they're-
nobody else had video. And I understand, John, that you had people wanting you to sneak your secrets to them back then.
Yes.
As to,
Yes.
how do I do this? How do I put video on my site? You were
on,
like,
John.
cross my palm with silver, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, they didn't come up with the ducats. So
That's the thing. That's
No,
the thing.
that was just a fun time in a way. Like my political awakening, so to speak, was in 1999 for that election cycle. Because like a lot of people, well, just myself, when I got to college, I was involved. I didn't know if I wanted to go into journalism, psychology. I didn't really expect to go into music. But after I won a scholarship through Hunter College, things changed. But I was more interested in learning and trying to understand music. I had no real understanding of music until I got to college. And I mean, I'm a progressive rock guy. So, but I didn't even know really what a C chord was.
Mhm.
And so throughout my life, politics was always sort of on the back burner.
Yeah.
And I remember in college, right, like there was a presidential election coming and I'm walking in and all of a sudden I got attacked. Are you going to vote for this or that? And it's like, someone told me, if you're independent, they leave you alone. So I registered as an independent and everybody left me alone.
Wow.
But then I had no political beliefs really at the time. I always knew when I was 16, like that when I thought about it with the woman's right to choose, I grew up Catholic. I'm, not heavily Catholic. My parents weren't big churchgoers, but I'm Italian. So, I was baptized in communion and all that kind of stuff. And it just made, I just remember as a teenager, what do I think about that? That's like, and it just made sense that why should I dictate what a woman should do with her own body? So it just made sense.
Yeah.
And I just always, so that was one thing I was surprised I actually thought about it as a teenager. But anyways, I was selling, I had my own little computer parts business at the time. I was playing music, but I also was I had a little niche industry business, and it was going well. And so when the drive to the new election cycle was coming up, it's like. By the way, I remember when I saw Bill Clinton play saxophone, I kind of was pissed because I'm a sax flutist and I thought it was a joke,
Yeah.
So I just thought it was oh man, give me a break. But then I took a look at things and I said, the country, the economy's great. Workers were, they were in the driver's seat. People would offer them a job. They would get better benefits, more money, because there was a high market for workers in all kinds of industries.
Yeah. Yep.
So it made no sense. So I go, it makes no sense for some one-term governor in Texas to start running things. It just was it seemed crazy to me. So what I did is, I was in California, and then I registered as a Democrat because I wanted to vote for Gore, and that's when I started to then take stock of myself, right? Because most people, from families, if they say I'm a conservative or I'm a progressive, you ask them, name your beliefs, right? And most of them really, aren't really sure about it. And I went through a checklist. My father was in a union and it really helped him. So I was for unions. My belief of a woman's right to choose was always solid. And when I looked at these things, I realized that I was a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy to then register as a Democrat. And then, of course, I followed the election, and then, of course, we had Florida.
Yeah.
The hanging chads. I'm sure Bill can talk for hours about that.
Yeah.
And it just seemed crazy. And then when it went, when the Florida Supreme Court said, count the ballots, I said, okay, well, at least now they'll finish counting. And then when the Supreme Court came in, it was just insane. And that decision, when they just made some weird ruling to give to stop a vote count.
Yep.
I mean, there was no cause for it. There wasn't voter fraud or this was broken or that. It was they just stopped the count, right? I mean, and so that's when I really then started to get interested in politics.
Well, it was such an injustice for the black voters of that county in Florida.
In Broward County?
Broward County was black voters were not counted. It was flat out rush to get the Republican in power.
Yep.
Rush to get their tax cuts. And and I think that radicalized a lot of us. People aren't in charge. It's a threat to our democracy. I think I've heard that elsewhere lately. Something about threat to our democracy. I don't know.
Yeah, who might be that threat?
Who might be that threat? What party might be that threat?
Have you ever seen? I watch it every few years to keep myself fresh. The movie Recount with Woody Harrelson and et cetera. And it's the Bush Gore election.
Yeah,
right.
And it really
was written by Danny Strong, famously from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. I knew there'd be a Buffy connection in there somewhere.
We knew everybody take a drink.
Yeah. John Amato mentions Buffy. Everybody take a drink. Yeah. But the two camps, the Christopher camp, the Gore camp, this is democracy. We have to conduct ourselves well. This is how we do things in this country. We're not
going to file lawsuits to decide the election.
No.
Yeah.
And then over to the Bush campers is this is a knife fight for the power. We have to win this thing. These people are monsters.
We're going to file 5 lawsuits and
kill them all.
And up in court.
And they couldn't believe how much the Gore people were willing to roll over and compromise. So they kept, and then Joe Lieberman comes out and just knifes him in the back. Absolutely knifes him in the back. One minute he says, of course we shouldn't count overseas military ballots that aren't dated because there's no way to know where they come from. Then he goes on fucking Meet the Press or something well, of course we should count overseas military ballots. Those boys are serving our country. and the Gore staff are like, they want to kill themselves because like this is our guy, and he just sold us down the river. And yeah, it was so bad. I recall my ex and I had a dollar bet on who would win. And at the end of it, we just tore the dollar in half and went our separate ways. Because it was just like, but you can see in that moment, you can see the people who were down. Matt Schlapp was down there with the with the mob,
with John Roberts, right?
Yeah.
With Chief Justice Roberts,
and all the seeds are down there. All the mob action to stop an election, the slandering of the Democratic candidate, the right wing machine just cranking, and the like. We don't really give a shit what the results are. We just want to win.
And the Brooks Brothers attack in the mall, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Just like good old January 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Roger Stone all the time. It really is.
Yeah.
Roy Cohn and Roger Stone.
Yeah. It is. Absolutely.
So I mean, there are not a lot of people left, I think, who have memories like ours that go back that far and are sort of like this. We see the continuity of events. And that's what I'd like to hear you talk about, because you were there at the beginning, like seriously at the birth of the liberal blogosphere. There's John Amato saying they're going, "Hello guys, let's go potty."
Right. Well, and I mean, it was Mike Finnegan, the late great Mike Finnegan.
Yeah,
great Mike Finnegan.
Who turned me on then to more about politics, because I was interested after that. Because was it 527 or 526 votes in that Florida that was contested, right? It was one of those numbers
like that. Yeah.
But and Mike used to, like, he'd go on tour and he'd send out because we were really, really close, and he'd send out like an email blast, and with New York Times articles. But then there was an article, and it's like what is this? Like, where is this from? And he explained, they're bloggers, they're people that are into politics that put out their own beliefs, and some of them are really great, And so I started reading through Mike's email chain. He just, when he was on the road, and he would then, while he had time off, he would put a little compilation together and send it out. And that's how I got the name Crooks and Liars, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I had been then in 2003. I had played with John Taylor's solo band from like on and off from '98 till about 2002. The end of 2003, going into I had played a bunch of shows with Duran Duran.
Oh yeah,
and so we got back from Australia, and then they were working on the tour in England and whatnot. A couple of months later, when unfortunately I went to see a doctor. I won't get into the specifics, but he crippled me, and I couldn't. I was in so much pain. I had I couldn't go on tour,
right?
And so, but what happened from that was I was home, and I was able to watch cable news, and I was watching CNN and that Situation Room, and then Chris Matthews and then I would watch Fox News, and I remember that. I don't know, you guys remember when Paul Krugman and Bill O'Reilly had that little get together? They had a debate, and so that was fun. And so about I guess when the summer hit, but I wasn't able to work or whatever. I was talking to Mike. I said, maybe I'll start fooling around. And my first idea, I went on Blogspot, and I did something called the Poisoned Pen, right? And I didn't know what and I was just fooling around with it. But there was this friend of mine, Bob Morris, who was a good little tech, and he was an anti-war guy, anti-war blogger. So he said, I'll come over with Radio Userland, and I'll set up, an actual site. So then it's like, okay. I mean, I had nothing to do. I was hurt, so he came over, and so we were searching, to give the site a name. So I said, well, let's just go johnamato.com, right? I mean, who cares?
Right.
And there was a a guy in Detroit that, checked this out, that was a hair cutter and a saxophone and a religious saxophone player named John Amato. And he had John Amato. So I was trying to think of something, and I had remembered on one of Mike's emails, he just said, "Oh, these crooks and liars." I said, "Let's just use crooks and liars," right? Because it's so we got that from GoDaddy, and then he set up the website, and I just remember, because I would be reading the New York Times or the Daily Kos or whatever, and or Duncan, also Digby, obviously, and And so I just I would watch the shows, and then I'd see a quote, and I said, it's one thing to read a stupid Bill O'Reilly thing, but it's another thing entirely if you see it and hear him say these words, right? So it's just always in my mind. And around, let me see, in October, my friend Bill, who was an incredible IT guy, came over, and he said, it took me a couple of days, but there was these hacks into a TiVo, right? Because at the time, TiVo was just an incredible platform for TV and recording. Yeah. And so I was able to download a daily show. And I said, wait a second, so you were able to download it? And he goes, yeah. So I go, can you cut them into parts? Right? Instead of the whole show? He goes, sure. And I said, get over here. Because the light bulb went off. And so it took them back then. They immediately removed all the stuff online. But it took them 2 days to do all these hacks into the TiVo. And then there was a program called Tie Tools. And so you'd from the TiVo, you'd take that program, you'd put it into Tie Tools, and it would somehow do what it does. And it would create, it would download the whole, if it was a Daily Show or if it was a Wolf Blitzer. Remember Jack Cafferty would do his whole moralizing things. Or it would be, an early Megyn Kelly thing. She used to be on at 1:00 East Coast time. Or Hannity, Hannity and Combs,
Hannity and Combs,
So then you'd have to put it in and then you were able to edit it, And so, wow, I made a video. But then, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. How are other people going to see this?
Right.
Yep.
So I remember a friend of mine, his name was Donnie. He was a really good editor also with E, but he was like an amateur songwriter. He wrote this Osama bin Laden song, and he was really proud of it, but he didn't know song form, Yeah. So he had told me he'd been, he was a really good editor. So he was using this program, Sonar, and so he was storing it, And so I said, I called him. I said, Donnie, you store your songs and your edits up somewhere, right? And he goes, yeah. I go, I forget what the place was called, Garage, something like that. And I said, how does that work? I upload it. It's, and I said, well, is there a way, if you upload a song, that then you can put some sort of a link down, and if we click on it, you can play it on a website?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. I said, well, get over here.
Everybody get over here, John's house. Let's get this going.
This sounds like a Mission Impossible. Getting the team together.
Right.
We're gathering our text. Yeah.
Because you can make the video, and I had no idea how to compress it or all that, make a big file or smart thing. So at that time, it was $25 for storage for 100 gigs.
Oh my God.
Now, back then, 100 gigs sounded like a lot.
That sounds like an enormous amount of storage in 2004, right?
Mm-hmm. So I remember I got the account. Donnie was helping me, and Bill was there. And so then and it was a daily show, like a little segment that I clipped.
Yeah.
We uploaded it, and then I put this hyperlink that connected to it. So, I had no idea how that worked, right?
Yeah.
And then, I put the page online, and then I clicked it, and it took a second, but it played.
And so people could actually, now this was before you were able to actually embed video.
Oh yeah, there was no embedding.
Somebody
it was
had to
like
click on a link, and it would go to the site to watch it.
Right, it would be either a Windows Media Player video, and then eventually we made it both Windows and QuickTime.
But they were and you gave Windows. Everybody options,
Well, but so So the first one, looking at the old stuff, though, like I had no idea even how to use the back end, how to indent, how to do anything. I had no clue, but I wanted to get
no
stuff
one
out.
did.
No,
Very few people knew how to do that.
But people knew, like when they had their software, they knew how to write articles and make it look like an article.
Format them. Right.
I had no idea how to do any of that. Bob didn't show me, but it's like, it's like I didn't really care. And so I put up on, I think it was October 19th. So I uploaded the Daily Show, and it was up there. And it's like, okay, and then what I started to do is go into comment sections.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so because then I would read stuff, and I was also, I wound up, as it went along, I got a second TiVo because you can only, record 2 stations at once at the time. So then I needed another TiVo, and then I got a third one. But so then I'd go on Duncan's site, and one time he had this, what's her name? Daniel Pletka.
Yeah.
Is that her name, Bill?
Yep.
So she said something stupid on in the midday on CNN.
She of the leopard skin eyeglasses.
Right. I don't know if she was
lying about Obamacare. Yeah.
It was before that.
This is before that. Yeah.
Doing with maybe not a Fahrenheit 9/11 movie or something, right? And so I saw that, so I went and got the video and I put it on my site. Then I went into his comment section and said, "Hey, if you want to see this, click here."
Yeah.
And so it was like, I don't know what it was, a Friday, Saturday, all of a sudden, it's like I'm looking and my upload count, I think it was called Garage, had maxed out. And it's like, wait a second. So I had to put another $25 up for 100 gigs. And then it was downloading, and on radio's Userland, in the back, you can see like links. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm getting like, what is this?
Crazy traffic.
It cost me $100 that night. I had to keep putting money in because people were downloading. Like I must have got 60,000 downloads.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that sort of gave me an indication that this is interesting, because I knew it would be powerful. Not that I wasn't trying to, I got this grand design, I'm going to create this video. I said, no, It was like something I was doing. And so as a creative person, like I thought, when something clicks, you go, oh, well, why don't I do this and this? And then I just, went on those, the instincts of the creative spark. And, but there was no, like, I'm going to make this anything more than what it was, just put some videos out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the first. And then, since I was disabled, then I was able to catch the shows, and then I would read everybody's, sites and see what was happening. Right. But then I would also start watching the shows. And then, I think I was the first guy also to really start writing about the Sunday shows.
Yep. And having downloadable video for other people to look at it and watch and write about too.
Yeah.
With I'll never forget, right? Bill Frist and the whole, the tears and like the whole, oh my God. That was over AIDS, right? The transmission of AIDS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, so it just sort of started to percolate that way. And I started to enjoy it, and I remember then in 2005, obviously we lost the election. And, I wasn't around to have a voice in the whole thing, right? Because it was already John Kerry against George Bush,
Right.
And so in 2005, as then I would go on, remember Democratic Underground? I don't even know if it's still around. Maybe it is.
Remember. Yeah, remember.
And so I would start diaries and put stuff there. I had to do so much self-promotion because obviously back then, especially, it was like getting links. So people, how are they going to know about Crooks and Liars, you know?
Right.
And so, I would go into comment sections, and then I started to email, at the time, everybody thought Digby was a guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would email. Susie Madrick helped me back in the early day. I'd ask her a question. And then what really kicked it off, well, first was the tsunami in 2005. Like, that's when I would put up the videos of the tsunami, and then Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
And then also like Stephen Colbert doing the White House press, the dinner.
The dinner.
Roast.
The White House Press Association dinner. Yes.
And back then, there's no, I got like 1.5 million views on that.
Yes.
And you're talking, before any of this stuff, it was, so then the name of the site started, get around. And my best friend, he was like, okay, what are you going to do with your life now? Right. Because I couldn't play music. And I was, I had some money in the bank. So for the immediate time, like I could, and then I was on disability. So I knew in 2005, like, it wasn't like I was able to, I would be able to survive for a little bit without doing anything.
Without a paycheck. Right.
But I just, here's the thing in life for me, right, is sometimes doors open that you don't expect. Right. Now, are you too afraid to walk through them or not?
Right.
Right. And so, so a door opened. I realized that I said, this is something unique, at least. And I just said, I'm doing this. And there was no money. There was no blog ads. There was no Google ads. There was no ads on the site. It just, I was drawn into it. And when you're that magnetic pull, it's usually the right thing to do, whatever anyone wants to study or make a career or just get involved with something. If you feel that, it's like a natural pull.
Absolutely.
So I just started.
And, we started out as Driftglass and Blue Gal. If we were doing it in 2026, we would never name our blogs those things.
No.
We'd use our real names. We'd do all kinds of different things. We'd try to monetize it right away because the internet's a different place than it was in the Wild West of 2004.
Well, and so many people, this is not what anybody started out to be.
Yeah.
This is not where, nobody had a plan in 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5 that, in 20 years, I want to be a blogger and a podcaster, deeply involved in politics every day and read garbage from people I hate and write about it. And nobody, that was not my plan for life.
I'm just going to clip the Sunday shows and tell them how terrible they are.
And that was not Blue Gal's plan.
Nope.
It just became a civic necessity.
Yeah.
It just became because the thing is, you filled a massive gap that the legacy media would not fill. There's this shit they would not talk about. They wouldn't touch. They wouldn't call Bush, what he was. They wouldn't take Cheney to task. They were way behind on the Iraq War. They wouldn't touch any of that stuff. And there really was this desperate need. This is what I found so refreshing, because I the first blog I went to was Talking Points Memo. A friend of mine said, there's this thing called Talking Points Memo. Check it out. From Talking Points Memo, I find Steve Gilliard in the news blog. Shocking. Guess what? He's black, or he was.
Yeah.
Right.
Digby's a woman.
And Digby's a woman. My God. But it was that suddenly discovering a whole community of people who were just as pissed as I was and just as literate and who followed events. And in sort of the heart of it, there's this video service called Crooks and Liars, where I can actually see things without owning a cable TV. I didn't get cable till I came to Springfield.
Yeah.
But
2011 is when he had cable for the first time.
But I was able to go to Crooks and Liars and get all the video resources I needed, plus a community of people talking about it, so I could go and check out other people's things and check out their blogs and check out the comment section. And it really was this wonderful place where those of us who felt completely alone, are we crazy? This guy just got reelected. What the hell just happened? And we found you, and we found this wonderful place out there where we could all gather and exchange ideas and talk shit and feel not alone. And there's so much value in that. There isn't just technological; it's just community values. So thank you for being that.
My pleasure. My friends ask me now, how can you have still done this for so long? But again, you're talking about the comment sections. Back then, it'd be 1,000, 1,200 comments on an article.
Yeah.
Right. Because people would just be, but it's a way to get this anxiety or frustration or fear or happiness or joy or the passage of, gay marriage acts or anything.
Right.
You get to then get it out of your system. And so I look at it in that respect, that I've always been able to, to whatever, I'm feeling, I get to put it out on paper, because I realized, in 2006, like if I get too emotional on everything, I'm going to burn out. I'm not going to be able to continue. Right. And so I had to learn, and that was part of it, to try to detach a little bit from it emotionally. I mean, I don't know how I did it, but it was just a thought. It's like, I have to try to do that, or I'm not going to make it. And, Josh Marshall was really cool to me and to Crooks and Liars, because, as the video started taking off, there was like, even on the left, what is this video stuff? Even on Daily Coast, Marco said, like, we don't need videos, and it was Josh actually wrote an article basically praising the effort and thought it was really good, and so, then as I started to learn more about the politics and I started to immerse myself into it, then I became more of a, smarter political person, as opposed to just having an idea to post videos,
Right, yeah. Right.
But that's what we all do.
What was Mike Finnegan's part of that? Because I know he is the Mike of Mike's Blog Roundup that your site does every day.
Correct. Well, what I did with Mike, because he was still sending out his emails, he would do sort of a roundup. So that's when I said, hey, Mike, I forget, I think it was 2007, maybe.
That's when I started working for you.
Right. Because I was right up, I said, hey, do you want to, instead of just sending out an email, why don't you do your roundup and put it on the website? We'll do it
every day. Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So he started to do it for a fairly long time.
And it was a feature.
I always thought Mike's Blog Roundup, and because we were starting to generate some decent traffic,
right?
My goal is to also give back to what I received, to give back. So I thought it would be great.
You're the only one that still does that.
Right.
I mean,
so
we still do Mike Blog's Roundup every day,
So people, smaller sites, people, as long as it was quality, they would get a big boost in traffic for that day. And so it was my way of giving back to the. Well,
and that's how I got connected with Crooks and Liars, was I kept sending, because I would just browse the web for whatever I found. And if I found something good, I had the same attitude you did, which was, if I see something good, I don't care if the traffic goes to me or not. I want everybody else to see it. And so I would send it to Mike, because Mike had send tips to and give his email address.
Right.
And he noticed that. He's like, you're the only one that sends consistently. Every week you send me 3 things from people that aren't you. And I'm like, yeah, because I want people, I have the same attitude you do. You see something cool, you want everybody else to see it. Mm-hmm. And so then, of course, he linked to me once, and I saw that my traffic went from 150 to 1,200 hits in one day, And what did we call that? Morning wood?
Yes, morning wood.
You guys called it morning.
Yeah.
Morning hit wood, I think it was.
Morning hit wood, that's right.
Morning hit wood. You wake up and you be like, oh.
Remember, bragging about your site, asking anyone to come read your stuff under any circumstances was blog whoring.
Blog whoring.
And you were not supposed to do that. And that advice usually came from large bloggers that did not want any competition.
Oh, I got yelled at by early Wonkette commenters for mentioning totally on topic, that I had written something on the same topic. And
how dare you?
I got hammered.
Yeah, there's all different little unwritten rules.
Just hammered.
But I think you were the first one that Mike, when he was touring somewhere and he couldn't do it, that he turned it over for you to do the. So it was by Blue Gal.
Yeah, here's Blue Gal doing it.
Yeah,
because he knew I had a good eye. He knew knew from everything I'd sent him that I had a good eye, and I wanted to see it done.
Well, and the ethos, the blog ethos on the left, no matter what family fights we got into, blog ethos, along with blog roles, was always look up, link down.
Yeah. Look up, link down.
Look up, link down. Make sure the people who are getting less traffic than you, and this still lives on. We still get, especially Blue Gal gets requests from newbie podcasters.
I just helped somebody yesterday with their podcast. Like, they're just starting out.
Yeah. What
we
can I
did a
do?
Zoom call, and I told him what I thought of his podcast, and he doesn't even have 50 episodes yet, but he's made some newbie mistakes. I told him how to fix them and make it sound better and whatever. And I don't, I'm not charging for that. I just want him to have a good product.
Yeah, because he's not taking from anything. So, he's contributing, not taking.
Right.
It's paying it forward.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And that really was, and I miss that. It's still around. I mean, Digby's still around, but I miss that sense of we're all in this together. There's a big fight. We're all in it together. And we are all moving generally in the same direction, and we're going to have fights and we're going to get disagreements, but we're all supporting each other. We're all looking out.
I feel like, and I wonder how John feels about this.
Yeah.
I feel like Minneapolis and the murder of Mrs. Good has brought us together.
Yeah, it has.
And,
Sadly. It has.
Yeah, unfortunately, these tragedies and traumas have that effect on our community. It doesn't affect the donor class, but it does affect it's not the grassroots, but the net roots, however you want to call it. Just the average Democratic voter or a person that has integrity,
right?
Person that's not so easily manipulated into looking at something. And then someone's just basically telling them it's something completely different. And they go, oh, yeah, all right, yeah. That's right. She was trying to run him over. She was deranged. Yeah. I mean, I did an article with today. It'll be up tomorrow with Caroline Levitt, and I mean, she's on Fox basically saying that. And then she actually said that Good, rammed the officer.
Right.
Yeah, no.
So he was in fear of his life and his fellows, and from this deranged woman who was a paid agitator, and it's just crazy talk. I mean, this is the age of Trump. This is like that's the norm in their sphere, and unfortunately for us, we always have to combat it and expose it.
Right.
And still, some of their crap just gets through because they have so many big donors that pay to have their words spread in every corner of the internet and the podcast and the news. I mean, now they got CBS News, and it's
who thought that would have ever happened?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised bigger. Well, it costs a lot of money, and but they want to control the messaging.
Yeah,
and they figure, man, if JD Vance gets in there in 2028, it'll cut taxes more for us.
Right? Hey,
he'll get rid of all the monopoly rules.
Sure. Yeah. So
anyway, but it was
I want to talk a little bit about Blue America, because you also started Blue America with some other folks, and that's more of a grassroots fundraising for Democrats, right?
Yes, it was myself, Jane, Digby, Heather Parton, and the late great Howie Klein.
Yeah, we just
put
lost
together
last month.
We just lost on Christmas Eve. He was my big brother. I loved him dearly, and he finally succumbed to a cancer. But because fundraising, for a while, nobody was doing any fundraising. And then when it started to happen, then we put together Blue America. And I was just, during the Pfizer fight under President Obama, we raised $350,000.
Yeah.
Back and it was like crazy money back then.
Yes.
Against, to get Pfizer, because of that whole craziness, right?
Yep.
With the Pfizer courts. But and Howie, he had an didactic memory on every House race in the country, not in California. But if you go hey, Howie, who's running in the primary for Iowa District 2? He'd list everybody off and give you their bios. And he'd say, who's a progressive, who's a blue dog, who's an anti-working class,
Who voted for the war? Who didn't who voted? All that stuff.
Incredible. And how he fought against all kinds of censorship when he was in the record industry, including with Tippy and Gore and Lieberman trying to label just the censorship on music. And so he's always been very involved in politics. And so he would vet Heather and myself occasionally would interview a candidate, but he did all the vetting. And then, we didn't take salaries. So then we would then raise money for particular candidates in districts, So we also, if we had extra money, we would run ads in a red district because we figured that people there didn't even hear a message of a progressive message at all.
Ever.
So if we ran something, maybe someone will see something. It was a way to try to break through the barrier.
Yeah.
So again, Howie was a titan, and he never gave any quarter. And what he wrote, he used his website as a punching bag for all the people he considered to be scumbags and corrupt, especially corruption would just drive him crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, I got a question. Considering the longevity of our memories here.
Yes.
We remember all the way back to the previous century. My God, we remember the 20th century. Remember when phones used to have dials? Are you surprised? I kind of am, and I'm not at the same time. This is my bias. I'm surprised at the number of people who were categorically incompetent, awful, terrible journalist a-holes in 2003 who are still working, who still have jobs in legacy media, who still have positions, who are still respected. And it's like there's a certain class of people who are bulletproof. You can never fire them. You can never criticize them. And they never show up in any arena where you might encounter them. And it feels like that's almost our eternal opponent. Other things come and go, but there's like this class of people who just they're enablers of the bad people.
Duggan like this.
Right there, they're starting to age out and lose their jobs finally.
Yeah.
But again, and we weren't the first, but one of our focuses early on was media criticism, because one of the instigating incidents for me to just want to say something, right? Just have a voice, was the Iraq War, the run-up to the Iraq War.
Absolutely.
And the failures of the mainstream media to hold anybody accountable. And, again, firing Phil Donahue because he had just a different opinion about things.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. You talk, for some reason on my YouTube channel, right? Because I study, like Bill, he's into science and he's brilliant. So I've been studying physics on my own. But suddenly, like Chuck Todd's podcast, it will come up on my feed, or Chris Eliza. But what's interesting is they're actually, because they're so appalled by the Trump administration, that they're actually making videos that, if we didn't know the history, we'd enjoy.
Yeah.
Because I'm listening now.
Resistance now, right?
Yeah. I'm listening to what Bill is talking about, this class. They tried to be, I'm a real journalist, right? I'm not a left wing, or but I'm the arbiter of truth. That's what they were trying to say. They were the arbiters of truth.
Yeah. And now Chuck Todd's got a podcast where he says the Sunday shows are basically useless and they should all die because they suck. And they're like, dude, okay, welcome to the resistance, and B, please go away.
Yeah.
Please, for God's sake,
it's funny.
Away.
Why don't you go dig a hole and jump in it?
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny, but now he's actually doing a thing going through Senate candidates and saying and actually speaking like an actual purveyor of truth on the issue, which was I was watching it going, okay, he's actually making sense, and he's actually now giving opinions based on fact and not, maybe they're not being weighed. Because when you start to know different politicians left and right, you're a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel bad to attack them a little bit. So it's just interesting how that's working out. And then they're being replaced by, by younger versions of themselves.
Of
Exactly.
Todd, yes.
Exactly.
Right. And
we do get a Caitlin Collins, that will tell Trump he's lying to his face, which is okay.
Yeah.
But then you get a Kristen Welker who's like...
write a great book about all of the pressure he was under to be a douche.
Yeah.
I'd really like to read that. I'd like to read about, look, I understand now that the damage that I did, and write like Stuart Stevens does. Write something about it was all a lie, that television isn't there to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you're listening to network TV on the Sunday shows, we're there to put a Republican on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really interesting too, and it's still happening today when by 2006, from around then, producers of all these shows would go to more popular websites and blogs like ours and then use and find segments to do segments on TV about.
Yeah.
Right now, unfortunately for Fox News and these others, they'll just find some a person that's got three people following them and
on
make
Twitter,
some weird claim, and then they'll have a segment on that. Oh yeah, we could build this up,
Yep.
But because we were credible, and even I would do these. CNN had this during I think it was the 2006 midterms. So CNN invited all the different right-wing, left-wing bloggers, independents, and, at a big restaurant and a bar restaurant to do this whole live stream thing. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting is how many people that, we thought, would come up to us and say, at least Crooks and Liars doesn't make stuff up, isn't clickbait. And some people really, I really like the name. They were so friendly, but they were also, admitting that we are, our credibility. And that's the one thing that I've really worked on all the time since I started was being honest. And whatever my beliefs, if I had some strong beliefs on certain topics, to make sure that goes through. And it's also a badge of honor for all the writers and people like Fran working on the site for all these years that they also have this quality of truth. And no matter what it pertains to, even though we are progressives and we root for that, we're not going to be liars to support that.
Right. Truth comes before personality or byline or anything else. It really does. And I always attributed that, John, to you being a session musician. You knew how to identify people who wanted to go on stage and make sure the music was right, not necessarily be a rock star yourself, but make sure that you were playing the music right and supporting what was going to be shown to the audience. And that's what we do at Crooks and Liars. There's no ego there. People are just want to get the site telling the truth.
That's one of the reasons why I did I would always make longer clips, right? Because Breitbart was the first guy to clip people for 5 or 10 seconds and then make it sound like they said this when it wasn't that, or they used the whole context. So I'd always tell people, listen, now it's a bit different, but still I always like to have longer clips for a fuller context so that we're not making this up.
No, they actually said what they said.
Well, and the links that you follow, I mean, rarely is the case where the full story isn't being linked.
Right.
So you can go check, you don't believe me, go check it out. I just don't want to run an hour of video, you've got time for 30 seconds or a minute. And I think that's
exactly.
Really
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, Fran has done an incredible job all these years, and Carol Lee and everybody else on the site. I mean, I'm fortunate and I'm grateful to be working with people like you for all these years, because it also that makes my living experience so much easier and better and more joyful.
Thank you. Well, we're going to keep this going anyway.
That's right. Well, we didn't talk about our favorite TV shows.
We're going to do that next.
We missed so many things.
We're going to talk about our
we can keep talking.
TV.
We got time.
Yeah. Favorite TV shows of 2025 is what we're going to talk about.
Now? Right now?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Fine. You gotta pick one. There can only be one.
Well,
No,
one
you can have a
favorite-
tie. I told
I'll
him
give
you
you-
can have a tie.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
I mean, my favorite show was The Pit of the year.
Which just won a Golden Globe for
Right. It won Emmys.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the reason it's funny, I never really liked medical shows. Do you remember, you guys remember Emergency? Remember
Yeah.
that show?
Yeah.
So there was
Hey, I'm
one
old enough to remember Medical Center.
Medical
Chad
Center,
Everett.
Chad Everett.
Yeah.
I remember the episode as a child with O.J. Simpson.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I loved O.J. Simpson as a kid when I
As
was,
a kid.
when
As
he
a
was
kid.
on USC.
Yeah.
And they lost to Ohio State in the Rose Bowl 14-10. I remember, so he was on Medical Center. So,
Yeah.
Ma, I got to watch Medical Center. But anyway, there was a thing when a guy he got a can of beer and he flipped the flip top and he drank it, but the flip part went down his throat.
Went down his throat.
And that's like, I can't watch this. It's like, I'll never be able to drink a beer or a can of soda again. So I never enjoyed medical. I didn't really get into ER,
Yeah.
but I really liked The Pit. It was the acting was great, the writing, the situations, and it really, that was my favorite show. And I will say, second favorite, and especially their mass shooting episodes were just incredible. And I know Adolescence won a lot of awards, and I wrote a review on Adolescence on the site. And the third episode, I have a problem sometimes with the awards because there's 4 episodes, and an actor will be in one episode where you got a 15 episode thing, and the actress or actor is just amazing for 15 episodes, but they give it to a person that has anyways. But the third episode,
yeah,
the third episode of the therapist meeting the kid, Owen Cooper, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite, because it was so powerful at the moment, one of my favorite episodes. And I will say, I also loved Alien Earth.
Alien Earth.
Oh, okay. I missed it. So now
You
I have
didn't
a
watch
recommendation.
Alien Earth?
No.
Oh my God. How could you miss
Mr.
that?
Science
Yeah.
Fiction hasn't watched Alien Earth
I
yet.
haven't. I realize that there's a canon I'm supposed to keep up with. And there's certain parts of the canon I'm not familiar with. And frankly, no Sigourney Weaver, and it's hard. I'm a hard sell.
But it gets rid of all the other movies.
Okay.
It actually takes place 2 years before
Alien.
the first Alien.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so they created their whole, a different society where 5 trillionaires corporations run everything.
All right.
And so it's its own, and they actually have a throwback episode that sort of parries the first movie.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And
We'll give it a shot.
there's this one creature, this billy goat, that's got to be the scariest creature of all. It's anyways, you should give it a shot. It's really, it's not perfect, but I really enjoyed it. And so you should definitely check it out.
Your recommendations carry a lot of weight with me.
It's on Hulu. You'll
check it out.
enjoy it. The trillionaire guy uses whatchamacallit, the hook and the fairies, Wendy and all. He uses those.
Peter Pan.
Right, he uses Peter Pan. Because you have your, there's 3 different. There's the android, right? Then you got cyber humans, and then he creates something new. This young, he's like a super genius trillionaire guy.
Huh.
Anyways, it's really it's fun.
Okay.
So no connection to real life news events or people or anything like that.
No, I mean it's
billionaires.
In other words, it's a ship that crashes. That's carrying not only a xenomorph but a few others.
Okay.
Now, what did you think of Superman and Fantastic Four this past year?
Okay. Superman, I saw in the movie. The crowd loved it. I thought Super Dog was the best
Yeah,
I mean,
Superdog was great.
Crypto?
Once it goes
Crypto?
into-
was great as
once
the
it goes
robot.
into the pocket universe stuff, it just loses me. It gets ridiculous. Um, and it was good to see Mrs. Maisel have a nice different role.
Yeah.
But it was watchable. I just, if I didn't see it, I wouldn't have cared. And the same thing, Fantastic Four, the same thing. There was when they went in space and went on to with the Silver Surfer.
Right.
That was Julie Gardner was the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, she's a great actress. Yeah.
Yeah, and she looked really, and the way they had her, it was like that was a hot Silver Surfer.
That was a hot Silver Surfer, all right.
But I like the scenes on when they were in space battling Galactus. But it was okay. I mean, again, it was better than their first stab at a Fantastic
Four.
Was.
The first three, yeah.
Yeah. And it was sorry, go ahead.
I feel like it refreshed the summer superhero movie for people who are just burnt out by all the negativity in the Marvel movies. The ends of the last 3 or 4 Marvel movies, where you've got heroes fighting each other, you've got heroes dying, you've got a bunch of people dying all the time.
Right.
And the meaning of superhero movies is The Incredibles. The best superhero movie ever is The Incredibles.
That's what you want in That's what I want.
That's what you want in a superhero movie. It's a bad guy. And you want superheroes to overcome the bad guy.
And I understand that Batman is a dark and troubled and gritty, vigilante. That's fine. But don't make everybody that way. Superman is a Boy Scout. He's a hopeful Boy Scout. He's a first contact story. He's an alien and he's truth, justice. And don't make him into like a little version of Batman. They're supposed to be diametrically opposed to each other. And I wasn't a comic book guy at all, but I like my Superman. And I like my Batman where he belongs.
I collected Fantastic Four as a kid. That was my favorite. Remember that terrible cartoon as a kid. And then I always liked Daredevil. I like the Marvel stuff outside of the DC stuff. It wasn't because I chose. Those were the ones that I gravitated to.
Yeah.
But I did love the first, like Guardian of the Galaxy was fun.
Right.
I like that first one.
Yep, the first one was very good.
I actually like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series after the Winter Soldier, which that was also a really good Captain America movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, because they kept it more contained. I mean, I can't stand. They always have to have this insane, crazy stuff at the end, right? These stupid battles. But Winter Soldier was pretty contained until then. And but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really took off. They had the episode waiting until that movie was released.
Yeah.
And I talked to a friend because she said they had so many restrictions on characters and plots.
Oh, yeah. Of course they did.
Originally, so the first 15 episodes, they were hit or miss. It wasn't getting the juice. But once they got into it after Winter Soldier, it became a really good series.
It was. I love that. I agree with you wholeheartedly. That was a really thoughtful, fun, and the acting was excellent. The cat after a while, it got to be like I got the rhythm of it, and they broke it up a little bit, and each season had its own arc. Which I thought was nice, and they did a good job with what they had. That was great. A great little series.
And have you watched Pluribus yet?
Nope.
No, we haven't.
Okay, so.
It seems too depressing to me. Is it too depressing, or is it a good?
It's fun. It's not the best series out there. I like Rhea, but an actress in season 5 who was the big villain of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She has a really cool part in it. She comes in a couple episodes later, and so I was like, "Where have I seen her before?" And it's like, "Oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5."
Now, what's your number 3? We've got 2 so far.
Or tell us movie or TV. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Just 2025. What was doing it for you?
I enjoyed Sinners because who doesn't love dancing and singing vampires?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that crowd, I love that. And also, I was never a Michael B. Jordan big fan. I liked him on Friday Night Lights, but I thought he was tremendous in Sinners as the brothers.
Yeah. Getting really good reviews overall.
Did you see Sinners? You haven't seen Sinners?
No, we haven't seen
Nope.
Sinners yet either. We can
It's
give
not-
you our favorites.
There's too much to choose from. There's too much.
Well, it's an amalgamation of so many different things. It's not just one story. It brings in, their sort of supernatural beliefs and dancing and music, like all and racism and all that stuff. It's a big melting pot of different African American feelings of that period.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So give me your guys.
Well, we only watch movies or TV shows with white people in them, as you know. So sorry about that. All right, darling.
Well,
what's your-
we loved The Down Low.
The Down Low was amazing.
Okay.
Down Low was an amazing noir. We're very big fans of noir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so that was a great show.
I just started it.
It's very good.
And the repetition of Jim Thompson novels.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gonna pay off. Let's put it that way.
Gonna pay off. We love Slow Horses.
Yes. Who doesn't love
And
slow
the
horses? Yes.
sort of sequel to it's not a sequel, but it's another set of novels by the same author as Slow Horses is Down Cemetery Road with Emma Thompson.
Yeah.
I watched that.
And
I'm a big Ruth Wilson fan from Luther. She's like my favorite recurring character of all time.
She's
Alice-
really good in this. Too.
Alice is the best, So
Yeah, she's an amazing actress.
yeah.
And earlier in the year, Drift Glass, there were other things that we watched.
Oh no, Death by Lightning.
Death by Lightning.
Oh,
We
yeah.
love Death by Lightning.
It was a history lesson. It
Yep.
was really well cast. Chris Shannon
Right.
was amazing in that. And just the other night that Blue Gal and Middle Child were watching Groundhog Day.
Groundhog
For
Day.
like the 15th time. And this is Michael Shannon's first movie, right? Because we do
movie.
that. We watch a ton of noir, and it's always like, I know that actor from somewhere, and then we go on the treasure hunt on our laptops going, okay, that's where I know them from. That was the villain in this other movie. So that's sort of an in-house fun thing to do during watching noir. But we've gone through, 20 film noirs over the summer.
Film noirs this past 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
There's
Oh, really?
one in particular that stands out that I had never heard of. And I
Okay.
am a huge, huge Barbara Stanwyck fan.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara Stanwyck was born on my birthday. She and I have the same birthday. I was born on her birthday.
Okay.
And there's a movie she made called No Man of Her Own,
Oh, yeah.
where
yeah.
she's an unwed mother.
Oh, well, what
And
year
she
was that?
sneaks her way. I'm not going to tell you how she does it, but
52, like 51, 52. something.
yeah, it's not 40s, but
No.
she's an unwed mother, flat out. Not her husband died in the war, not anything other than she had sex before marriage and she got pregnant. That's what happened
Right.
to her. And this is not a pre-code movie either. She's just flat out been abandoned by a bad guy who slept with her and ran away.
Mm-hmm.
And she winds up pretending to be someone else in a new community where her husband died. And that's all I'm going to say about it. She pretends that she's married to someone and he died. And it's sort of Peyton Place-like in that respect. But, she finds an identity so that she can have her baby and have it be financially supported and not be, an outcast because she got pregnant out of wedlock. And
Of course, back then.
then of course, really bad things start to happen, and her position gets threatened and blackmail. And people are going to blackmail her, or people are going to find out who she really is, or and there's a romance, and then there's not a romance, and what's going to happen, and who's going to get caught, and is somebody going to get murdered, and on and on and on. And we were at the edge of our seats for this whole movie. Is she going to get blackmailed? Is she going
This
to
70-year-old movie. This 70-year-old black movie.
No,
Like,
they're great.
Jesus, what the hell, man?
What is she going to kill this guy? Is she going to murder somebody, or did she murder somebody? And there's a gun, and there's a bullet missing, and did she do it? And it's like
because
on and on.
The whole movie is a flashback. You open on
Oh yeah,
okay.
two main characters.
Two main
something
characters.
bad, and the police are on the way. That's the
Police
spoiler thing.
show up. Yes,
And then the movie, and then the
movie.
resolution, like
It's like Laura.
top notch.
yeah. It's really and you could read. We were just saying, why has no one remade this movie? This movie, this script is so tight. And you're just you're hanging on it. You're hanging on it. It's called No Man of Her Own.
No Man of Her Own.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely
every
look that
minute.
up. I'm gonna definitely look that up.
Also, I don't think anybody but Barbara Stanwyck would have the guts in that era to play a person who just got pregnant. You know, unmarried woman who just got pregnant and was abandoned. Yeah.
No problem. Like back then, you know, if I could go back, like Lana Turner in The Postman Always Rings, she was like a goddess when I saw her. I was like, oh my God, Lana Turner. So I love all those.
Well, she did that in Peyton Place too. She was the unwed mother who moved and pretended that she was a widow, you know, and same thing. The shame of it, you know. Yeah.
Did you see Paradise on Hulu? Yes,
Paradise on Hulu.
That was good.
I didn't.
I love Julia
didn't know what
Nicholson.
kind of show we were watching until you did.
Right, exactly. Then it's like, okay. Yeah. And, you know, I love Julia Nicholson. She's just...
she's very good.
Did you see Hacks? Did you see this season
Hacks
of
is
Hacks?
Very good.
When she was the dancing mom? Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh.
She was so funny then she's like a drug athlete. And she doesn't even have kids. Oh, I mean, it's really fun.
Yeah. We are living in a golden age of entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, now, if you want a good, like it's a remake from a Nordic noir thing called Department Q.
Yeah, we started to watch that and we thought, okay, this particular season is going to be about a woman trapped in a submarine or whatever. She's going to be, you know, a hostage.
It's good though. It's well done.
It was too much for us at that moment.
It's well done. I actually had watched there was like 3 movies that they came out with that's based on. And so I actually watched them back. I don't know if it was Danish or Swedish. I always forget.
Scandinavian of some kind. Yeah.
And do you guys like foreign? Do you ever watch any French comedies?
And, well, you hooked me on to a French show where one of the detectives is autistic.
Yeah, Astrid and Raphael.
Yeah, Astrid. Yeah.
It's on PBS.
Yeah, and it's got very good reviews. I have a hard time with subtitles, I have to tell you. It's just hard for me to focus. But
it turns into such their relation. I really love it. Actually, season 6 came out that I just watched.
Okay.
But there's
a new season of The Night Manager just came out. I'm going to check that out.
There's only a couple episodes out right now.
Yeah.
I'll take it. What about Murderbot? Was that
Murderbot? You know, Alexander Skarsgård is fun. It's not the greatest series. Did you watch it at all?
We watched it, and I read the book, and it's very true to the book. At least the first couple of episodes are very true to the book.
It's okay, but it wasn't like, I don't know, it didn't, you know, I don't know. I watched every episode because, you know, I like sci-fi.
Right. Exactly. No, it wasn't as good as, for instance, Silo. I thought Silo was very well done, but that was that was kind of a COVID thing.
Yeah, did you watch season 2?
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
I like season 1 better, I think.
I love Rebecca Ferguson. She's wonderful.
So good. She's so good in everything. You know, I can see why she got killed out of the Mission Impossible movies earlier, you know.
On Hulu, they have a French series, but they do an American version with Caitlin Olsen.
Oh.
And it's called High Potential. And it's sort of
I've heard about
a similar thing where the French one is the same thing. A great French actress plays the part. It's like this woman, she's got like 180 IQ, but she's so like crazy about it. She's got a baby and a teen, you know, unwed, couple of kids, that she does these fucked up jobs, you know? Yeah. And so it turns out the first episode, she's a janitor, basically cleaning up a homicide room, and she sees the clues. She looks at it, she just rearranges it, you know, and then goes about listening to music, dancing, and then they come back and they look, and it's like, wait, what the fuck? And then they find out that they call her in, and she said, well, you got this all wrong. And then she basically solved the case. To him,
and she solved the crime.
Right. So then she starts being a consultant, you know, and Caitlin does a good job. But the French one is called HIP. And it's on Hulu as well. Anyway, so those are fun series.
Yeah, the person from the outside who comes in to help the cops.
Yeah, that's a typical.
We watched Ludwig.
Oh,
Yeah,
how is that? I have it. I started with
It
the
was
kids.
nice. It was interesting, and it was the guy. Same thing. Hyper intelligent guy gets sucked into the police department, has to kind of lie his way in for other reasons, and in the process of solving the larger mystery, he solves crimes along the way.
Yep.
Because he's smarter than everybody else, and he can figure this shit out.
And, everything's a puzzle, so he knows that he can solve it. He's
it's a typical theme of shows, and I love Caitlin from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
So she's very good in it.
He's good in that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And watching all of the people who take the Sherlock Holmes template.
Yep.
The detective, but not a cop, with a sidekick who's still bright, but not who's there to document. And who encounters the law being replicated 1,000 times.
And it never gets old.
And it never gets old. It is a true archetype. It is like, this is how you build a plot now. You can build all kinds of plots with this very basic formula.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, Astrid and Raphael, there's just a sweetness with Astrid that develops with Raphael as the cases. And it's not as, like some of them try to be a little too funny. And so the cases are Sarah, but their relationship is just really sweet. And she does have problems. She's got to wear headphones when she walks outside. She does have issues.
Right.
And they don't downplay it, or make it sound cute.
They don't make it sweet. They make it, she's got a problem dealing with the outside world from time to time.
And then, of course, hopefully this year we'll have our Welcome to Sunnydale reboot.
Oh.
They're filming. Sarah Michelle Gellar's in it as an older person with a younger Slayer in Sunnydale. So it's
you must be on cloud 9.
Well, we'll see. So
they have a way they could mess it up. You don't know.
I'm happy about it.
All right.
Anyways, well,
Amato, thank you very much for being on the air with us. This won't be the last time, I assure you.
I have many, many other movie recommendations, so I'll have to do this again.
Hey, we can do just the culture. I always wanted to start a podcast, and then my old injury would put me down, because it was undiagnosed for about 15 years.
Yeah.
And so then I couldn't do it, and because I just had to make sure I got, material out,
Right.
So
I think we can do, if that's what you guys want to do, when a new show comes out, we can just do something where we talk about it,
Well,
something like that.
All right, guys. Love you guys.
As long as it's Gunsmoke, it's great. I'm cool with that.
Gunsmoke.
All right, guys.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure, man.
Talk to you later.
So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Let's think about living. Let's think about loving. Let's think about the hooping and the hopping and the bopping and the lovey-dovey. Let's forget about the whine and the crying, the shooting and the dying, and the fellow with a switchblade knife. Let's think about living. Let's think about life.
The Professional Left podcast is produced and recorded under a Creative Commons license. Copyright DGBG Productions. ProLeftPod.com.